Greetings! Today we're making 3 of my favorite quick and easy, beginner-friendly vegan meals that are perfect when you want something delicious and comforting that doesn't require too much effort. We were inspired to make this video because we are dog sitting for family in New York for 2 weeks. We don't have access to our kitchen with all our usual spices and ingredients and cookware, and we have been making really simple, quick and easy meals on a budget with what's available to us. Let's kick things off with the absolute easiest recipe of the 3, these peanut butter noodles. You need just a few ingredients for these. It takes under 15 minutes, I promise, and it's super budget friendly. And this is one of the first recipes I learned how to make when I first started out cooking, literally in middle school, so anyone can make these. First, slice up a few scallions. If you're not a huge fan of the raw onion flavor, I would say just slice up the green parts, save the whites for a different recipe like stir fry or fried rice, since these are going in raw. Sometimes I make just the noodles, sometimes I want to add in some veggies to make it a little more balanced, so here I'm cutting up some broccoli into florets. And then into a mixing bowl, you'll add a few tablespoons of peanut butter. You could totally use almond butter or even tahini, just the flavor would be different, obviously. A few tablespoons of soy sauce. If your peanut butter is already really salty, maybe just start with 2 tablespoons of soy sauce and then add in more later if needed. Tablespoon of maple syrup, or you can use brown sugar or even agave if you like. Then you're going to either finely mince or grate a clove of garlic, and then mince up about a teaspoon of ginger. I think fresh garlic and ginger taste the best, but I used to make this recipe all the time in college when I lived in a dorm and I only had access to like a tiny kitchenette. And back then I used to just use powdered garlic and ginger, and honestly it still tasted delicious. So feel free to use those in a pinch. Then as far as noodles go, you can use almost any kind of noodles you have already lying around in your pantry. So udon noodles, pad thai noodles, you can even use spaghetti. That's what I used to use when I was broke and in college, but for this example, I'm just stealing some noodles from a packet of ramen. And whatever noodles you're using, just prepare those according to the package directions. If you are adding in veggies, you can blanch them right along with the noodles. Quick tip. So for broccoli, you could just toss it in when there are about 3 minutes left on the cook time for your noodles. And just like we do when we are cooking pasta, we're going to reserve a little bit of that starchy water before we drain the noodles, and this will help us thin out our sauce. Right after you drain the noodles, while they're still piping hot, add them to the bowl with your peanut sauce, and then add in a splash of that starchy water. You may need more or less depending on how thick your sauce is. And that's mostly just going to vary with the brand of peanut butter you used. The more natural peanut butters tend to be on the runnier side. More processed peanut butters tend to be thicker. So just add the cooking water gradually and adjust to your preference. Then you can use tongs or some chopsticks to toss everything together, get those noodles coated in our peanut butter sauce. And that is it. Seriously. You can garnish it if you like with some extra scallions, some sriracha, some chopped peanuts, a squeeze of lime, and they're ready to enjoy. I feel like you're gonna want more of this.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing it for you.
You want to eat it first? Or you want me to put it?
Sure, let's taste test it as is.
You bite, then I'll bite.
These ramen noodles are really long. They're like never ending.
Want me to snip them?
I heard that's bad luck.
Oh, I'm not gonna snip them.
Okay, it's just gonna be like the biggest bite I've ever taken in my life.
We'll edit it so it looks all, you know.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready?
Okay. Oh yeah. I don't think you've ever made these for me before. But they're really good. Peanut butter, peanuts, and Asian flavors. Oh my god. It's so good. It's like we get tofu spring rolls at like every Thai restaurant we ever eat at. It's like we get them all the time. They all come with like a spicy peanut dipping sauce that basically tastes exactly like this. And it's really good. We need to make these more often.
I love how creamy they are. This could be made under 10 minutes if your noodles cook quickly. And if you're using like spaghetti, it's still really good. It's like delicious, super budget friendly.
You could probably use literally any noodles or pasta you have in the house. It doesn't matter. Spaghetti doesn't just have to be with marinara.
Really good with udon noodles too.
Ooh, those
Do you
are
want something with like a little bit of chew?
Those are the thick ones, right? We have
counterfeit sriracha.
We have Trader Joe's sriracha at home, and we have a different kind of off-brand sriracha at home. And then we show up to my parents' house, and they have a third entirely different brand of off-brand sriracha because nobody can find it. And please leave a comment if you can find sriracha in your area. We'll Venmo you. Send us some, please.
I heard you can find it at an Asian market.
Okay, we have to try our Asian market and see.
And when we go to our local pho restaurant, they have some. And we like douse our food in it.
And I want to ask them, like, can I like buy one of these bottles? Like,
They might sell some to you.
I've asked them, I'm like, how come you guys get it? And they're like, they favor the restaurants over the grocery stores, and the restaurants get the sriracha, whatever they have, I guess. Charlie, you want peanut noodles? You can't have any. You want peanut butter?
Now you have to give it to her.
I will. This is Charlie. This is what the reason we're in New York is because she is a being that needs to be taken care of at all times. And all she does is lay on the couch getting hair everywhere, and we have to vacuum every single day. But it's okay because she's so cute. Yeah? Now I gotta give you peanut butter because I told you I'd give you peanut butter. Okay, peanut butter. Are you a good girl? Mwah.
Next up, we're making a super easy sweet potato coconut curry. So Eric and I are obsessed with both Indian and Thai curries, and this one is not authentic to either culture. This is just an ultra simplified, super easy curry that you can make without any special ingredients and without too much thought. Our current favorite veggies for this curry are sweet potato, carrot, and peppers, but this is the perfect recipe to substitute in any of your favorite veggies. Onion, garlic, and ginger will form the aromatic base for this recipe. Then we'll need a can of full fat coconut milk and some curry powder. When I'm making more authentic Indian curry dishes, I will mix my own spices, but having a store-bought curry powder is super handy if you're not someone who likes to keep a lot of spices in your pantry. Then you'll need some beans. Chickpeas are our usual go-to for this dish, but we wanted to try butter beans this time. Go ahead and start out by chopping up your onion and mincing the garlic and ginger. And again, remember, you can always buy garlic pre-minced, and you can buy ginger as a paste if the thought of too much prep work tends to put you off of cooking. And if you're a fan of really spicy food, I would recommend also dicing up 1 or 2 jalapeno or serrano peppers to add in some heat. Then peel and dice up your carrots and sweet potato and chop up your peppers, or just chop up whatever veggies you feel like using. This curry is great with zucchini, cauliflower, mushrooms, butternut squash, regular potatoes even. Really, the sky's the limit. Now the first step is to pan fry your aromatic veggies in a little bit of oil. You could use olive oil or coconut oil until they're golden brown. And as they pick up that color, it's going to bring out the natural sweetness of those onions and create a really nice flavor base for the curry. If this starts to stick or get too dark too quickly, deglaze the pan with a little bit of water and then reduce the heat just a touch. Once that's golden brown, we're going to sprinkle on the curry powder and stir to coat, and then just keep it moving for a minute or two to lightly toast the curry powder. It's worth noting that if you don't have any curry powder in your pantry, but you do have a Thai curry paste, you can also totally use that. Then add in the coconut milk, and that's going to deglaze the pan. Use your wooden spoon to scrape up anything sticking to the bottom of the pan because that is going to have a lot of flavor. Add in your veggies and then a little bit of extra water just so that the veggies are more covered with liquid, because now we're going to bring this up to a boil. Then reduce the heat and let it all simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. During this time, the veggies are going to get nice and tender, and we are going to cook it with the lid off so that the curry thickens up really nicely. Normally, I would also be adding the chickpeas in along with the veggies, but since I was using butter beans this time, and butter beans are quite soft and I didn't want them to fall apart, I waited and added them a little bit later during the cooking process.
Butter beans, beans with the butter in it. Does anyone know that meme? Does anyone remember that from like 2020?
But a dog.
Dog with the butter on it.
Where's sriracha?
Please leave that in the edit.
Okay. All right, we got some leftover curry.
We've never had this with the butter beans before until now. We've always used chickpeas.
I really like, they're so good.
They're so good.
I learned recently that they're the same thing as giant lima beans, which we make all the time in the Instant Pot. We really like them.
And Trader Joe's has giant lima beans in that tomato sauce, which we are addicted to.
Yeah.
They're just overall great. And you can make them, and you can season them and bake them as a little snap or like a topper. Anyway, I'm obsessed with beans.
You can like crisp them up like crispy chickpeas.
But huge.
Yeah.
It's so pleasant. Like the sweet potatoes are so sweet, and the carrots are so sweet, and the coconut milk is so rich and creamy. It's just a very pleasant experience. It's just so nice, and it makes you feel, I don't know,
warm and cozy.
Warm and cozy, yeah.
And the sweet potatoes, especially now since this is leftovers. This is a few days old now. We reheated it up, and I feel like curry and stew, it's one of those things that just gets better and better as it sits and all the flavors kind of meld. And the sweet potatoes are kind of breaking down at this point, and so they're making it even more creamy.
Good
I
point.
really like it.
It's funny, you can taste natural sweetness. Way different than when you sugar, yeah.
And the red bell pepper has sweetness too.
You like the beans in here compared to the chickpeas?
I like them both. We made this with lentils too. Just a can of already cooked lentils. What's your favorite?
I think I like these, just because I love all beans, and the fact that they're so big, it's just like more beanage per bite, more beanage per bean.
I already mentioned this in the voiceover, but we use curry powder. But if you just have curry paste, like a Thai curry paste already in your pantry, you could use that too. Thai curry paste tends to be way spicier than curry powder though. So this isn't spicy at all, like as is. But if you use Thai curry paste, probably have a little bit of kick to it.
That's a good note. It's almost like you're a pro. Who knew?
For our next super quick and easy meal, we're making vegan fried rice with tofu scramble instead of egg. I swear this is just as delicious as takeout fried rice, but it's a fraction of the price and it really hardly takes any time at all to make. We're going to slice up a few scallions and just separate the white and green parts. You can also, of course, make this with a regular onion, just give it a fine dice. And then, of course, mince up as much garlic as you'd like. If you're really busy and need to cut down on prep time, it's always a good idea to just buy a jar of minced garlic and keep that in your fridge. As far as rice goes, you definitely want to use leftover cold rice. And if you don't have any leftover rice, you can steam up a fresh batch and then just spread it out on a tray or a plate in one layer and pop it in the freezer for about half an hour just to rapidly cool it. With leftover cold rice, it's just way easier to separate those grains so that the rice doesn't stick together when you go to fry it. And since fried rice usually has egg in it, we're also going to scramble up some tofu, and that'll contribute some protein and make this more of a complete meal that's a little more filling than if you were just using rice. So I take half a block of extra firm tofu and press it with a clean kitchen towel before crumbling it into our skillet with a little bit of vegan butter or oil. Season that with salt and pepper and pan fry it over medium-high until it's golden brown. The fried rice itself is already going to have lots of flavor, so I'm keeping the seasoning for the tofu pretty minimal. And once that's ready, you'll set it aside, and you can use the same exact pan to fry your rice. The only reason we're switching here is because we were having some issues with this pan sticking. We're not used to using the hex-clad pans, and I don't think they've been seasoned, so we swapped to a stainless steel skillet for the actual frying of the rice. Again, add in some vegetable oil or vegan butter over medium-high heat. Vegan butter is our preference just for flavor. If you have a really good non-stick pan, you can also use less oil, but we do like some fat in there. I feel like that's what makes fried rice, you know? Let the white parts of the scallions cook with the garlic for a minute or two and then add in your rice. It's helpful to go in with a fork or your fingers beforehand and try to separate the grains of rice as much as possible before you add it. Getting the grains nice and separated really is key here. It's going to keep your fried rice from being sticky or gummy, and that's why it's so important to use leftover cold rice instead of freshly cooked rice. Stir fry the rice until it starts to take on some golden brown color. You can season with salt and pepper, and now you're going to add in the green parts of the scallions as well as some frozen veggies. We've got frozen peas and carrots, and then you just keep stir frying until it's cooked through, which just takes a few minutes usually. Now you can also add in some sriracha if you like, and then a few tablespoons of soy sauce and stir that through until the rice is evenly coated. The last step is just to add back in that scrambled tofu, fold it back into the rice, and stir fry for another minute or two to warm it back up. All right, let's try some fried rice.
Let's do it.
This is so hot.
Did I make it too hot?
Maybe.
I taste like it's from a restaurant.
I was gonna say that.
I'm just gonna say it.
I'm shocked.
I don't think I've ever made it this well in my life. I guess that's what happens when you just stop making it on a whim and actually figure out what the recipe is supposed to be and then make it according to the recipe. Turns out it comes out as best as it's ever come out.
I feel like the reason it's so good is because usually when we make it at home, we kind of skimp on the oil or butter because we're trying to be healthier. And this time we were pretty generous with it.
Yeah, because this time we were thinking, okay, we're gonna make it an actual recipe. We're actually gonna put it on the website. And how would we actually make it if we wanted to impress someone, right? Because when it's just us at home, we're like, yeah, we can use a little bit less oil and it might stick to the pan more, and it's gonna be a little less, you know, like, but it's fine. It's just whatever.
You always use this as an adjective when you're doing the taste test. It's
So, sorry.
You look pained. But it's not greasy.
No, it's not.
It's just a little more oil than we normally add, and it makes it like really luscious.
Also,
and
it's a huge batch.
Yeah. But the oil is really coating every grain, and it's keeping them really separate and fluffy.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than like gummy fried rice.
Right. Which is why the cold leftover rice works the best. So the recipe calls for turmeric for the tofu to make it look more like a scrambled egg.
Optional.
Optional.
Just aesthetic. But we wanted to photograph it for the blog.
Right. But at my parents' house, they didn't have turmeric and we didn't want to buy it, but we had curry powder, right, for the other recipe. And we were like, okay, well, curry powder has a lot of turmeric in it, so we're just going to use it in the video to make it look yellow and look yellow in the photographs. But you can swap it in instead of turmeric because it's been giving this batch like this just little hint of curry flavor, which works really well. So it's not technically part of the recipe because you're supposed to use turmeric, but it's good. So
I think curry fried rice is
it's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Like I feel like pineapple curry fried rice at a Thai restaurant. It's really good.
Fried rice is also great because you can put literally whatever you want in it. If you have like broccoli, bell peppers, mushrooms, just like saute them a little bit first, like with the tofu, take them out, just put them in right at the very end.
That wraps up today's video. Hopefully you'll try one of these recipes out the next time you need a really simple, quick, and easy plant-based meal. We would love for you to subscribe for more recipes like this. We upload new videos every other week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.